So here they are talking of artificial intelligence, and they are saying that they have now used this technology, artificial intelligence, which kind of thinks and speaks and reasons like a human behavior. And they say feeling also. I'm not sure whether robots have feelings like us, but the kind of, I don't know why they write it. I totally don't understand. But definitely the artificial intelligence is that your thinking, your reasoning, and the way we speak, they can do that. So artificial intelligence is embedded into those devices which they call robots, right? And definitely we use them for certain reasons, because in industry some processes are hazardous. They are not like, it is not safe for us human beings to do that process, so we use them as a kind of our replacement. For example, in car manufacturing in US and in Japan, they have been used successfully, right? But sometimes the factor is that they are very expensive, and the cost is huge, ranging between 100,000 to 250,000. And the most important example is actually the robotic arm. And there is just one arm of the robot, and then they kind of do what, they move the objects from one point to another. And this is what probably they need in industrial assembly line, right? For example, while manufacturing cars, they quickly move the stuff, and they speed up the car production, right? So this is how artificial intelligence, which is a pure concept, has been applied. Robots are applied concepts, right? So there is a pure concept which has been now applied, artificial intelligence, into the robots. And then kind of a Honda robot. So if you have heard, there is a lot of news about them. They are doing quite good on that front, in that invention or discovery, I should say. Yes, please. There are some soft robots, like how they work. Let us learn about them. So these are still the applications: medical field, assembly line, logistics, pick and place, food handling. So they are used there to replicate human reasoning and human behavior. And when you are reading it, this concept is called contextual computing. And if you are reading it, think in your mind, which is coming up in next slide is example, right? Any example of any application of contextual computing, and any application which does study our surroundings, who we are, what we are saying, and then try to help us accordingly, right? So these are, all these applications where we speak, and then we say this software to do this thing. For example, Apple Siri, okay, listens to us and tries to help us according to our commands. Is that context aware software, right? So the pure part was contextual computing, and its application is of course Apple Siri, and there are other also like Alexa and other stuff, right? So when we do, we all know that whenever something has to be communicated with the technology, we use programming languages, right? We talk to computers through programming languages, right? This robot is also a computer in a way, right? Although shape is human shape, right? We talk to each other in our languages like English language, French language, right? But computers have to be talked to, computers have to be given instructions through programming languages. Programming languages, right? Programming languages. There are so many programming languages, right? For example, there are desktop programming languages. So if you are uh, trying to make a program or a software for desktop, or web programming languages if you are trying to make websites, and then there are mobile apps. For that you have to use different programming languages, mobile app programming languages, right? So there are now those programming languages, for example, for desktop, they use C programming language, C++ programming languages. For web pages, they use HTML, hypertext markup language, CSS, cascading style sheet, JavaScript. So there are. And for mobile apps, there are specialist programming languages by iOS, Apple computers, right, and others, Android also, right. Now when we talked with them, they are called programming languages. And here is one example that why the programming language used for controlling the robots is called variable assembly programming language, VAPL. So if you are a University of Alberta student, actually, right, they have a good robots program. Even at NATE they have it, right? And those student doing BTech or MTech, right? As you say, if your kids have interest in these type of things like games, virtual worlds, robots, then kind of if they do BTech after their high school, then they will learn this programming language, and then they will be kind of creating some soft or hard robots that would help in industrial application or medical applications. So when we are using these programming languages, actually I learned years back when I was young, some of these programming languages. Now what if is, there are conditions, right? We receive input, right? For example, I am given an option that I can enter any number on the keyboard from 1 to 7, suppose, right? These are the only options. And if I enter 1, and suppose I have programmed it, say this way, it says Monday. So like Monday is day 1 of the week. Suppose I programmed it this way, right? And when I enter 3, right, it would say, okay, that is Wednesday, right? So like this. So this is what if, right? What if? So what if is like, if you enter 1, then display Monday. So this is what if clause, right? This is how programming is done, where they teach you basics of programming. And what if is this? If it is 1, display Monday. If it is 3, display Wednesday. If it is, of course, 7, that would be Sunday, right? Kind of based on this logic. And what is they kind of is more, these are used in decision support systems, what if, and in transaction processing system. Remember, we have talked already about decision support system and TPS, transaction processing system. For example, point of sale software, right? Whenever we go to any store and then there's a scan on the barcode reader and receipt is given to you when you make payment, that is transaction processing system, right? So it is just processing the transaction that you purchased a grocery, you did a grocery shopping, right? So that is they use what is transaction, right? So then what is means, okay, they would ask what kind of transaction is it a sale transaction or it is a sales return transaction, right? Sometimes we go and return, right? And at the customer service counter, that would be for business sale return transaction, right? So what is the transaction? If it is sales, do this way, process the transaction this way. What is, if it is sales return, process the transaction this way. So these what is transactions are done in transaction processing system. This is actually somehow given here, but these are programming languages, but these programming languages are having some commands, they call it, they call it syntax, right? But it is so close to real English that they thought they must share it with you, what if and what is, right? Although they are syntax used in programming language, they are reserved keywords, right? You can use it only for programming, right? Not in explanation. They call it reserved keywords, but they are so close to common English that we use. They thought, okay, they must share it. Otherwise, there is no intention at all to teach you full programming language at this moment. But in web site design, strategic web design, one of the courses, you definitely learn or get a gist of that. Natural language speaking, right? We were talking about, we were discussing about talking to Alexa or Siri, and that is natural language processing. These are our last slides for today. So when we are using Apple Siri or when we are using Alexa, it is from Amazon, right? Alexa. Anybody knows that, right? Yeah. So then we are using speech systems to interact with the computer, right? And then there is second kind of language abilities which computer have and are widely used. They are translating ability, right? Some of us use translations at certain points of time, right? Yes. And that is the last slide for today. 2 questions on NLP. So it is very difficult, right? Because we have different accents when we use the same language. So natural language processing systems are difficult to design because of human language has complex diversity, and the volume or the number of languages is too high. That's the reason that NLP was not easy, and it took so long to come to Apple Siri or Alexa. So here when we talk and this computer listens to us, that is called interfacing, right? Interfacing activity. This computer accepts human language as input, right? And then tries to help us according to our command. But that part is called interfacing, right? So if interfacing is user friendly, right, then this becomes more popular. Cortana, Apple Siri, and these Alexa are becoming popular because the development in the field of interface has been highly successful. Although it was initially difficult, and but it is now kind of becoming more popular, and this application is reaching us in day-to-day life.